What's good, everyone? Welcome back to My First Kicks. This is episode 137, and this week we welcome Uncle Chrissy to the podcast. Now, Uncle Chrissy is a great resource in terms of just trying to help get retail pairs of sneakers on Twitter. He hosts drops, like Twitter Space drops, so that everybody can collect at the same time or cop at the same time. He hosts rooms and he's just a incredible resource for people who are just getting into sneakers or continuously growing their collection. He helps people manually cop, and I just reached out and really wanted to have him on. As an early adopter of the Sneaker News Discord, I learned about Uncle Chrissy and all of Sneaker News efforts to breathe and create community. So you know it really just influenced me to just hit him up and wanted him to just be on an episode. I mean, listen, I have lots of troubles, and if you've seen my recent TikTok, I talk about my time at the Crenshaw Skate Club pop up shop. That was during this week, and oh man, it was not a great time for me per se. You know, I just don't like my time being wasted, and if you see in the video, I think a lot of other people didn't like that their time was being wasted as well. I'd rather if someone can just be upfront with me and tell me, you know, we have a list here. Oh, you're not going to be able to get a pair. Don't wait after 3 o'clock. I put 3 hours of just standing around when there was only like six people there, uh, and the security guards were just like ushering people to the across the street just to keep the people that were in front of the store closer to the store so that they can get their pairs. Like it was not it was not a good time. I was extremely frustrated, and I'll just leave that in the past. I mean, it was really cool. Me and Toby from Crenshaw Skate Club, he followed the podcast. So if you listen to this, shout out to you, Toby. The shoe's great. Merch, I'm rocking the merch right now. Merch is great, and love what you're doing. So for those who just saw the fight and think that that's how every single New York release goes, it's not true. People are very passionate, and resellers really want to put food on the table, I guess, and make sure that they get that hype release so they can get the extra shekels that are on top of that shoe. And sometimes it just leads to fights. So shout out to everybody who was, I mean, I talked to a couple people on there. I wish I didn't bring on the line. I didn't bring any stickers with me, which was a dumb move. So I would have passed them out. And I mean, I'm not jumping on any lines ever again, probably. It will just be if I can walk in and cop, or if I can get them online, it would probably be that, because time is money, and wasting my time it just felt like the last straw for me. But on to where you can find Uncle Chrissy. You can find Uncle Chrissy on Twitter at Uncle underscore CHRISSY. Hit him up and tell him you found him through the podcast. Hit up the Discord, the Sneaker News Discord. It's really cool. Lots of community based there. I'm not very active in there, but I am in there. You can add me and I'll be like, what up? And also, you know where to find ya boy. I am who is Haas on all social media. Follow the podcast at My First Kicks Pod. Follow the podcast on, well, no, subscribe to the podcast on YouTube. My First Kicks Pod. No, My First Kicks on YouTube, and also TikTok. Please, I'm trying to get this YouTube up to 1,000. Please watch all my videos. Please watch all my shorts. I would greatly appreciate it, and it would be a big help. Once we get to that 1,000, I'm putting a lot of work into it, into the YouTube. I probably, I mean, I got to start making other content on there. Maybe we'll see. The shorts is up there. I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. But if you have any suggestions, hit me up. And if you have a My First Kick story, hit me up. myfirstkickspod@gmail.com. Probably make like a short about it too as well. So hit your boy up. And on to this week's guest, Uncle Chrissy. Before we jump into the episode, I want to talk to you about Drops and Collect by Soul Savvy. With Drops and Collect, you'll be able to stay ahead of the game. Using Drops, you can enter raffles and set alarms for any restocks. It would also help you to never miss a release ever again. I mean, my notifications on, and every morning my notifications go crazy. It's right before 10 o'clock. And after you cop some fresh kicks, use Collect to manage your collection. I'm still in the process of adding my kicks. I mean, I have a ton, but it's fine. But what's cool about Collect is that you can also make trades with no fees if you're a current member. But don't worry, if you aren't a member, you just have to pay a flat rate of $8. Now, how do you get these apps? Just use the links in the description of this podcast. Download these apps and grow your collection by also helping the podcast. That's right. Just use the links in the description and start expanding your collection today. Hey, Uncle Chrissy, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, man, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate you reaching out and giving me the chance to come on here with you.
No, yeah, I mean, we connected in a spaces with Sneaker Fetish, aka Kari. Well, no, I think that's Kari, aka Sneaker Fetish. But he hosted a space, and I jumped on, and we kind of like went back and forth. And I don't know if anybody was interested in our origins of me being like, yo, yeah, I'm on the Sneaker News Discord, and you were like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that was cool, man. Kari's a good dude. I think that was the one where we talked about the R Force One project, right?
Yes.
Was it that one? Yeah. He was cool, man. We reached out, set that up, and it's just cool to see how small the internet really is and how people kind of come together.
Yeah, I mean, it's really cool. I think that, the Sneaker News Discord, I jumped in super early because I had on Michael Lay?
Yeah, Michael, the blog writer.
Yeah. I had him on an episode, and we were talking, and then after that, I try to I saw that because I usually mainly go on Sneaker News for my sneaker news. I don't know what to say, but I usually go on there, and so I saw that you guys had a Discord, and I was just like, all right, let me jump in and try to push the podcast on there, and nobody was like, oh man, this is interesting.
How early did you get in? When were you on it? Were you part of the team early thing?
I don't know if I was team early, maybe a little bit after. It was right before the sneaker NFTs started coming out.
Okay.
Yeah. But I jumped in like right there, and then because that was when his episode came out, and then as like the Discord just became like, I just kept getting notifications like, yo, get into this mint, get into this. And I was just like, all right, let me step back on this one. But yeah.
Honestly, it's a really cool project. I was kind of the same thing. I had been following Sneaker News and Kickstarter for a minute. Mm-hmm. And I think I just happened to be messing around on Twitter one day, and I saw literally the first tweet for the group that was jump in our Discord, and here we are. And I met some really cool people along the way, and ended up actually becoming part of the team. So it's been really cool, man. I think it's kind of like the cutting edge, I think, for what sneaker cops can be in the future. So it's definitely a cool project to be a part of.
No, yeah, I mean, the cool things about being within that community is like, Sneaker News does do drops for sneakers, and you get a chance to get something that was like, oh, you struck out on, but then you get a chance to get it now, so yeah. But for people who aren't familiar with you, how about you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name's Uncle Chrissy Christian. I am the community manager for the Sneaker News Discord server, Sneaker Friends as we call it. I'm also a blog writer for the Site Supply. I've been with those guys for a little bit and started doing some blog work with them, and now just trying to branch out, meet some more people, and been loving sneakers since a very, very early age, and I'm quite frankly running out of storage space in my house, so I need to reel it back in a little bit. But it's just cool to be able to get together with cool people and talk about kicks.
No, yeah, I mean, it's funny because like it's something that growing up that people were just calling us nerds for, and now we're spending 6 hours talking about it every day.
Right? People build like $1,000 pieces of software to actually go after it, and yeah, it's crazy. It's $1 billion industry, and yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah, for sure.
It's cool to see that.
But let's pivot right into the question that I ask everybody each week, and
Yeah,
that
sure.
question is, "What's your first kicks? What's that first pair of sneakers that you absolutely needed to have?"
So I actually have. There's two that really,
Mm-hmm.
really got me into sneakers. So
Mm-hmm.
when I was a kid, I think I was in third grade, and it was the Bo Jackson, man, the Air Trainer
Oh yeah.
one, the SC, the Auburn colorway with the orange.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents got me that as like, my back to school kicks for the year. And I ran them down, man. They couldn't tell me nothing with those on. I was wearing them every day. But my uncle was actually he's a junior college football coach. It was kind of like they're one of the feeder programs for like some big name Division I schools. So he was kind
Uh-huh.
of plugged in. And, he had a friend that ran, I think, a sporting goods store in town. So he just always had stacks of sneakers in his closet. And one day we were over at their house for, hanging out at the pool or whatever. And he just pulled out the Carolina blue colorway of the same Bo Jackson trainer.
Wow.
And he was like, here you go. And I was like, wait a minute, wait, whoa, whoa. Same shoe, different color. And like, that was it. Like, that was the moment that really, really hooked me in. I was like, my young mind was blown a little bit. But then after that, that was
Mm-hmm.
the one that hooked me. But the one that really got me on the hunt for the first time was the Sean Kemp Insta Pump.
Oh
Remember the
wow.
Fury that had the little CO2 cartridge?
Mm-hmm.
I had my mother driving all over the city trying to find me those things. We went to malls, hour, 2 hours away trying to find them. I'd find them in the store. I got the sneaker, but couldn't get the Insta Pump. Then the
Mm-hmm.
Insta Pumps would burn out after like 2 uses. So
Yeah.
I ended up having to get like a six pack of them from the old East Bay catalog.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, that was the one that really got me on the hunt. Like, Mom, we got to go here, we got to go there. We were calling stores, driving all over upstate New York trying to find them. I think she hated me for it, but I think she was low key into it too. Trying to find it. But yeah, those are the
I
ones that really started it for me, man.
I'm trying to find like a description of the Sean Kemp Insta Pumps, and it's just the D Browns, right?
No,
Oh,
no,
it's
no. I
not.
think it was called the Fury, the
It's the
Sean Kemp.
Fury.
Yeah, Reebok Insta Pump Fury.
Hmm, Let me see.
Hang on, let me see if I
Um,
can.
Insta Pump Fury, because like
It
I
was a
can read
black and
about
white
the.
shoe.
Huh. Oh, maybe it's this one. I mean, it says he has a no. This is just a kamikaze. It's not it. Sorry for the listeners, but
No, it's all good.
oh, they did re-retro it. It's on sale right now. I see it. I see it. What you're talking about? Let me see if I can the Reebok Insta Pump Fury Zone.
Yeah.
Let's see. But this one doesn't come with
The
no
kamikaze.
cartridges. Probably because they fixed the tech on it.
Yeah, it was. The Insta Pump wasn't all it was cracked out to be. It
Yeah.
gave you a little bump in the tongue, and that was about it. But those things burned out so fast. Like you could use them like literally twice, and that was about it for you.
I'm gonna just read. Let me just read a synopsis of the Bo Jacksons to
Yeah.
the listeners and the 2009 release. Is that
Oh
right?
God, no. This was probably the original release. I think this was probably the when I was in third grade. So this is probably like the original 1990 release, give or take. I know I'm probably dating myself a little bit there, but
It's all good.
yeah, yeah. This was like the actual when they first dropped, man.
All right, so I'm gonna read. Look, we going all this back and forth, but I'm gonna just read this one. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
just read
Sure,
this one for
sure.
the listeners. It is the 2009 release though, but it talks about the 90s in it. All right, so This is not for the listeners. This is not the pair that Uncle Chrissy got, but this is just the 2009 release of it. It's
Yeah.
almost the same shoe.
Cool.
I'm pretty sure they either they upgraded or downgraded the material. So take with this with a grain of salt. But Nike pays homage to their renowned training shoe classics from the 90s. Bo Jackson's Air Trainers SC High was built to handle rigorous cross training workout programs for multiple sports, featuring leather and nubuck construction with a high top design. Um, that adds great ankle support. equipped with University of Auburn team colors. The Bo
Hmm.
Jackson also implements perforated panels on the toe, quarter panel, and heel for increased breathability. And
Yeah.
I mean, the classic, like in the 2000s, you had to have the
Yeah,
Charles
it was the
Woodson. I was
cross
gonna say,
trainers, man. That was
yeah,
what it was about. Yeah.
but the Charles Woodson Raiders jersey and the black and gray Bo Jacksons. Everybody had that.
Hell yeah,
Like,
man. It was funny. I actually went into what was it, like a finish line to
hmm
pick up. I think it was the military blacks that I hit for the in store, and they actually, I think they retroed them like maybe a year or two ago, whenever that was the Bo Jacksons, and I saw them sitting there. They had him in my size, and I was like, ah. I was like, I'm a little bit older now. I probably won't get any use out of them. I probably won't run them that much. So I ended up passing on them, and like every day I think about it. I'm like, man, that was the shoe you should have just got it and like stuck it up on the shelf or something like
No, yeah, I mean it's a great shoe. I think it's definitely because I mean, look, I've said it here tons of times. Like I'm a sucker for Knicks colorway, even though this is not technically Knicks colorway.
Yeah, close
Uh,
enough.
yeah, I'm like I would go to a Knicks game in these, like,
Are
because
you a Knicks fan?
yeah, I'm a Knicks fan.
Okay, so I grew up a Knicks fan too, and
Uh-huh.
and I hate Michael Jordan, man. I really do. But somehow I still ended up, I think Knicks fans should, respectfully bow out of the Jordans.
Listen, I mean, what we're gonna do? We're gonna wear
Yeah,
Ewings? I'm
yeah,
not
I
gonna
know,
wear no
man. I
Ewings,
know, I know, I know, I know. Those are hot for
man.
like a minute. I remember kids pulling up with those in school. I'm like, man, them Ewings are tight. Yeah, but I feel you, man. I hate what
I
you're
couldn't I
saying.
couldn't hate Jordan. I only got to watch him play on TV a couple
Yeah,
times. I mean, I was like 7 or 6, but
yeah.
the like for me it was I would never wear Kobe's because he used to kill the Knicks. Like I was like I would never wear Kobe's, and here I am. I bought. I have like I had a couple. I have like 4 pairs of Kobe's. So
Ah,
yeah.
nice. Yeah, it was hard, man. It was hard growing up a Knicks fan in Jordan era. Like, you just knew the Eastern Conference Finals. That was it for you.
I mean, man, it was that like that. See, peak like Knicks rivalries was during that time, like the '90s, 2000s of like,
Yeah,
you get the back and forth. The teams were competitive. Like, it wasn't like going to be a straight blowout, but like the it was like everybody was our rival, and then
yeah.
once after the Anthony Masons and everybody bounced. Like my favorite player is Larry Johnson. So like once Larry Johnson
Okay.
bounced and the team just started declining. Marcus Camby came through, and like it was just like, oh man, are we starting to fail? And then you just like then they pick up Stephon, and you're like, yeah, we're going down, bro.
Yeah, yo, it's funny you say Larry Johnson's your favorite player. I know this is a little
uh,
bit off topic from sneakers, but I actually went to UNLV. Like I went to
wow.
college there,
Uh-huh.
and at graduation, there was this big old tall dude sitting in front of me, and I'm like, yo, who is this dude, and why wasn't he on our basketball team? Larry Johnson came back to actually get his degree and sat
Wow.
2 rows in front of me at graduation and was like the honorary speaker for the day. It was pretty cool.
That's sick. I mean, that's
Yeah.
one dude I want to meet and like talk to for a little bit. I mean, I used to be like on the court like and throwing up L's, not knowing that it meant like throwing up the L and not knowing that meant for Larry Johnson, not
Yeah.
and people would ask me like, why you keep putting up the L, and I was just like, because I just hit that shot on you, you know what I mean? Like I had no great explanation for it, but I was still throwing it up, and it's funny. But where did you originally grow up?
So I grew up in upstate New York,
Hmm
a place called Troy. I grew up there, ended up going to college, moving out west, went to UNLV, moved out a little bit further, and then now I live in the DMV area, a little bit outside of DC.
And you like, what was it like? I mean, you talked about getting the bug early, so like,
Yeah.
what were you doing to get sneakers at such a young age, or like, and like, what was your style like back then?
So back then, so my dad was a cook in a restaurant, and
Hmm
I think when I was the age of 12, he was like, "Hey, guess what? We got a new dishwasher." And I was like, "Who?" He's like, "Get your coat." So I was washing dishes for like $30 a day,
hmm
but you're 13 years old,
I mean,
14 years old.
that's high for
That's
child
big money.
labor. Yeah.
Exactly, man. Yeah, you're young. You're like 13, 14 in the
uh-huh.
90s. You make like $60 in a weekend. You could save up for a pair of sneakers pretty quick back then.
Yeah.
But back then, I was into a lot of Air Maxes.
Hmm.
like Triax. I was into some of the Tailwind series, the TR, the Tuned Airs. They were pretty cool. It was mostly Air Maxes. And then over time, I wasn't really into it for a little bit, but then,
Was there
now
like
that
a a sneaker community that you were a part of during that time as well, or were
not
you like,
really,
nah?
like in my school, it was basically kids just, getting sneakers and stuff for school. But I was always
Mhm.
kind of like, always checking out everybody's feet around school. My cousin was kind of into it. He was a little bit older than me. He was kind of like an older brother figure to me, and he always had
Mhm.
the fresh Jordans. And I always wanted to get that, but my family couldn't really go for those things, and that's why I ended up trying to get a job to supplement those things and be able to do what I want to do for myself. So in a way, that kind of instilled the hustler's mentality in me,
Mhm.
in a very early age from wanting to go after that stuff. And now that I'm a little bit older in life, I'm in a better place, financially, so I can actually go back and kind of relive my childhood, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's kind of what it's like right now. But yeah, having my older cousin there was definitely cool. He kind of influenced me a lot with sneakers. I remember he had the infrared sixes. That was a big one that kind of got the bug in me. But
Mhm.
you know, I'm not as tall as he is, so the sixes just don't look good on me. It's not one that I can pull off. Like I tried to do it a couple times.
Mhm.
For the most part, I stick to low tops nowadays. So.
Nah, yeah. I mean, I go through phases, and like
Mm,
sometimes you get the itch to be like, you know what, I'm gonna cop the high tops, and then I
yeah.
mean, I was for the longest when I first got into SBs, the longest I was like, it's only SB highs, it's only like,
SBIs.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah.
it's only SB highs. I never bought a low, and then I finally bought a low, and then I was just like, all right, it's only lows now, and then you go through like your little phases and being like, you get. I mean, I think that with sneakers, everybody has like a moment of elitism. You'd be
Yeah.
like, like I think like especially where there's people like who only into Jordans, they'd be like, yeah, it's Jordans and nothing. You wearing Air Maxes? That's trash. Like I wear
Yeah.
Jordans. I got one through whatever.
Yep.
And then once you start getting like once you start seeing that it's bigger, there's a more community that people start being like, all right, let me try these out. All right, let me try these out. Yeah, so I
Yeah, that's
mean,
one thing that really gets me when people pull that, oh, you're not a sneakerhead if you don't wear this or you don't wear that. I'm like, stop it. Will you please? Like, it's a mentality. But I know what you mean. It's like kind of cyclical. You know what I
hmm
mean? Like for a while, you only want to wear some high tops. I was pretty much doing exclusively Jordan ones for a while.
hmm
And nowadays, like I've kind of sworn off Jordan fours altogether. Like I don't really see myself wearing those anymore. They're
that's
just
my
not
favorite
comfortable.
bottle, man.
Is it
Damn.
really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I honestly, I just don't find it comfortable. I really don't. Like that's
That's
it. I
that's
got
me with the 11. I'm the same.
the
I'm the same with
11.
the 11. Yeah, I hate the 11s.
And see,
And
that's the thing though. Like everybody has to realize that
hmm
your foot's different than mine.
right.
Your body structure is different than mine. Everybody has something that fits their body type perfectly. Well, close enough anyway. But what works for one person may not work for another. And that's kind of what being in the community is all about. Is
hmm
recognizing that everybody has their own style, their own thing. Um, yeah, honestly, I can't get down with 11s to be honest. It's a little tall for me. It's got good cushion. I'll give it that. It is.
I mean,
It is a little
I
bit
don't think it's
comfortable.
comfortable at all. Cuz I think it's
No,
like it's a heavy shoe. I mean,
it is. It's
people
heavy.
I'm pretty sure every listener on this podcast is like, I'm tired of him talking about the Jordan 11s.
Hey man, if that's your thing, whatever, whatever.
Cuz like I'm in the I think they're overrated like that's my take on it.
The
I just
11?
yeah, I think the 11 are overrated. They're coveted so highly,
You just said it
and
was your favorite shoe. How you gonna
no, I
say
said
so?
the four. The
Oh,
four is
sorry,
my
sorry, my
favorite
mistake,
shoe.
my mistake, my mistake, my mistake. Yeah. Are you excited about that Reimagine for next year?
I mean, if I see more looks of it, possibly. I actually really enjoy the satin ones, and I really wanted
Oh, really?
those, but
Okay.
they're not going up to 13
No,
in men's side.
no, the no
Yeah.
extended sizes on those.
And
Yeah.
so like the reimagined fours, once I see like an actual mock of that, like the way this is the way I look at sneaker media, right? Like
Right.
we get the Z sneakerheads being they put their mocks up, Mr. Unlove will show like, sneak peeks to stuff. And for me is I treat it like it's a movie, right? I don't want to see the whole movie in the trailer. I don't want to know the beginning and end
Okay.
in the
All
movie
right.
trailer, right?
I got you.
So I avoid the trailers as much as I avoid, like mocks or like sneak peeks. Like for me, if the shoe is coming out in the next couple of months, I will look up and try to, because I mean, and we're at the point where we have to be like well prepared in order for a
Exactly.
release.
Yeah.
So I'll
Yeah.
do that. So I amp myself up. I'll do all the raffles, whatever, and strike out a gajillion times. And but the attempt was made, and I if it's a shoe that I really enjoyed, then it's fine. I don't care what anybody else, what other influencers are being like, oh, you need to, these are 5 shoes you need to buy this month. And
Yeah.
like, for me,
Yeah.
it's all about like, if the shoe hits me when I look at it,
Exactly.
then I'm gonna go for it. So yeah.
Yeah, man, that's what it's all about. Like, get what you like, get what you want. Like, I never know how to respond when I see people say like, "What about this shoe? What do you think of that shoe?" I'm like, What do you mean? Like, if you like it, wear it. Like, if it's cool to you, it strikes you as nice. Like, get off them. Get it. And if
Mm-hmm.
it's comfortable to you and you can get away with a cop, go for it, man. Man, like, have at it. But I like that. I like the analogy of the trailer. That's a good way to look at it. Maybe I'll try to pull it back a little bit. That's a cool way to do it.
I
Yeah,
for me, it was like, during the pandemic, it was a lot of buying, right? And it was just
sure.
like, I mean, this is everybody was coming up during that time, and so it made me, instead of me being like, all right, I'm gonna try to get each drop each week, it was more of like, all right, let me see what I really want to spend my money at, and let me see what I could
Yeah.
save my money, because like I've made a couple buys and I was like, I instantly sold them after, and I was
Uh,
just like, why did I even buy this? Why did I waste the money?
yeah,
Now I'm
absolutely.
putting extra effort in order to sell the shoe when I should have just bought a shoe that I wanted. So yeah.
Absolutely, man. I know that feeling. I think we've all got that where the second you click purchase, you're like, why did I do that? Like,
I mean,
why?
the off white, the green off white Air Force Ones that dropped recently, or
Uh-huh.
like a couple months ago, right?
The
I
mids
did,
or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah,
the Air Force One mids. I won them, and then 30 minutes, I was like, I'm canceling these, and I canceled them.
yeah. I had it the other day.
Uh,
I really like foam runners, right? And
mhm,
Undefeated was doing I forget what it was, like whatever variation of pan they were happening to do that day, but
mhm.
like for Undefeated, like it's a little bit of a process to try to get through. If you have Apple Pay, you can do it, and it can take you up to an hour to get through. And I found myself in there like 40 minutes in, and I'm like, what am I doing? I don't even really want this shoe. Like, what is wrong with me right now? And thankfully, I just put the phone down and like walked away and didn't come back to it. I was like, what am I
Um,
doing right now?
well, speaking of that, like, when did you realize, like, oh, my collection is like getting a little crazy? Was it like college, or like when did you start amassing past 3 or 4 or 5 pairs, or were you always like that?
No, I really did try to keep it clean for a long time. I
Hmm.
worked in the restaurant industry, so I was, usually working like 14 hours a day, 15 hours a day, and on my feet all day. So the little time that I had, I was just on my back, laid
Hmm.
out. And the sneakers at that point, I just wanted the comfiest things I could possibly wear. So I had probably like a handful of Roches that I
Hmm.
ran through, for my comfort days. And I've always been into Vans, so I always had, a couple of those. Like I always have I've always had at least like 3 or 4 Vans on
Hmm.
hand. I think now I probably have like 6 or 8 Vans in the closet that I keep at all times. But I'd probably say, yeah, probably around the pandemic, just like you said, I
Hmm.
probably started getting a little bit carried away. That's when, like I said, I can have a little bit more flexibility these days. But I think even right now, I'm trying to kind of pare down my collection. So I've been spending a lot of time on Trade Block,
Hmm.
see if I can do, 2 shoes that are pretty good for one that's super fire.
Hmm.
And it's weird because as you grow, you get older, your style changes too. Like what you go after is starting to evolve. So now I even find myself, buying into the dad shoe movement a little bit, which I blame Yeezys on. But that's it's weird the kind of things that take your attention and But to tell you the truth, if I had a bigger closet, I would probably just keep going.
I mean, I feel you, because like right
Right
now,
now,
my closet's packed up, right? But
yeah, I
yeah.
probably got like, I don't know, maybe like 25 pairs in the house, another 20 in the storage unit. And
Hmm.
yeah, if I had more storage, I'm lying, man. Let me shut up.
I mean, I'm definitely close to 200 right now. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I do try to pare it down because I really do try to make a conscious effort to only buy something that I'm going to wear.
Hmm.
I have a rule, like even with clothes, like if I haven't worn it in a year, it's got to go. You
Hmm.
know, like it's just something that's just taking up space. Yeah, it might be cool. It might be something that you hunted after. Like if somebody gifted me something, I'm never gonna get rid of it. I'm never gonna sell it. I'll just keep it there. But that's my general rule of thumb is that if I haven't worn something in a year, it's got to go. With sneakers, I try to wear everything at least like once a month, maybe once
Hmm.
every 2 months. But yeah, I don't know that I could ever get to that point. I'd be intimidated by that, man. If I walk in and saw 200 pairs, I wouldn't know what to do with it. I have a hard
I
enough. I have a hard enough time getting dressed as is.
I'm like, yeah, I mean, it does get like for me, it's like it has to be a feeling of like, yeah, I'm gonna wear these, and then I pull them out. So
Yeah, yeah. And then
I
you
mean,
build your outfit around that.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was definitely, I mean, the idea of just having so many shoes was cool to me. But then I once I got towards the hundreds, I was like, all right, this is getting a little crazy. So
yeah.
I would sell like 5 pairs that I wasn't wearing,
Uh-huh.
and then I would end up buying another 5. So it just kept it just kept going. And then I have to hide boxes. Like, yeah, it was like, um, so you talked about, working in the food industry.
Yeah.
And so, like, what was why did you switch careers? Where was the moment that you decided, this is not for me anymore?
It's horrible, man. It's a tough industry to survive in. Like I said, my dad got me into waiting, being a dishwasher when I was like 12
Mhm.
years old. And, I did everything from washing dishes to being a line cook to, moving out to the front of the house. I ended up going to UNLV for hospitality management,
Oh, okay. I was
worked for
gonna
some,
ask if you went to
yeah,
UNLV for like journalism. But you
no,
got.
yeah, no, I went to hospitality management. It's one of the best schools in the world for that.
Mhm.
I was able to work for some really really big time chefs, and at a time I had laid out a set of goals for myself that I wanted to do when I was waiting tables. I
Mhm.
wanted to work for like a Michelin star restaurant. I wanted to work for celebrity chefs, and I had checked the box on every single thing
Oh, I
that
need
I
to know. Give
wanted
me
to
the
do.
rundown. Where did you work? Who did you work
Yeah,
with? I
so
need.
I worked. I got really, really lucky, man. I got really, really lucky. Literally, like 2 days after I moved to Vegas, my best friend had moved out there like a year before I did to go
Mhm.
to school. So I went out there the next year, was crashing on his couch. He wasn't even back out for the semester yet, and I just happened to walk into Caesar's Palace
Mhm.
and walked into the first restaurant that I saw to fill out an application, and it was Spago at Caesar's Palace, and the general manager just happened to be there while the hostess went to the restroom. He
Mhm.
interviewed me on the spot, and I got a job working for Wolfgang Puck after I was in the city for like 36 hours.
That's crazy.
People hated me.
Why?
Like I tell other people, like, how'd you do that? Like it was just right place, right time, man. Like that
Yeah,
was
it is.
it. That's all there really was to it. So I got to work for him for a few years at a couple different restaurants. I opened a restaurant for Mario Batali
Wow.
at the Venetian. I worked at the Venetian for a little
Oh
bit.
wait, am I still supposed to say wow to that? I don't know.
He was a wild dude, man. I'll tell you
I
that.
mean, I
Yeah,
mean, the reports have said such as well. I mean,
I
he
read those.
disappeared. They probably bronzed his orange
Yeah,
Crocs, and that was it, man.
I saw a couple of those. I saw a couple of those. And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. But he was cool. He was good to me. Him and Joe
Mhm.
Bastianis, they were very good to me. Gave me a great opportunity. I worked at the Venetian, Caesars, the Bellagio for a little bit, Mandalay Bay, and then I moved out west to San Diego, and
Mhm.
I was working with the Hard Rock Hotel for a little bit, for the Hilton
Man.
hotels,
Mhm.
and then I moved back to DC here, or, into DC. I was right in DC proper when I first got here, and I
Mhm.
was like, I'd had enough, man. Like it's tough. Like if you want to, when you're getting a little bit older, maybe you want to have a family, and like restaurant is it's nights, it's weekends, it's holidays, it's all the hours of the day where you want to hang out
Yeah.
with people and do stuff. And I knew that that really wasn't really the game. Like it really wasn't going to be possible.
Mhm.
And I had met somebody at the time who had given me an opportunity to get out, and I was kind of on the fence, like, can I really walk away from this? Like, this is all I know.
Right.
I had done it at the highest levels. I considered myself good at it, but I knew I wanted to get out. And the last goal that I had set for myself that I hadn't achieved was that I wanted to serve dinner to the president of the United States. I didn't
Mm.
care who it was, and I didn't care about politics.
Mhm.
It's like to serve dinner to the president, like that'd be pretty cool, right? And I was interviewing for this job. I had their offer on the table to get out of the restaurant business, and it was one of my last nights. I'm still kind of on the fence, and I know the Secret Service come into our restaurant,
Wow.
and I mean these guys stick out like a sore thumb as much as they try.
Mhm.
They grabbed me. I was the assistant general manager at the time, and they're like, "Hey, uh, Vice President Biden's coming in for dinner." He was vice
Wow.
president at the time for Biden. He sat down with his granddaughters, had a nice little meal. We made each other laugh a little bit, and I was like, you know what? I want to serve under the vice president, the president. I have a shot to get out the door, and the vice president just walked in. I'm like, close enough, man. I'm out.
Yeah. I mean, you. I guess the perfect word would probably just be kismet. Like you were just like, you're just like, I'm about to get out of here, but I have that one last thing, and then
Yeah,
the universe was just like, here you go. Here we're gonna
yeah,
get you as close to the last thing as
exactly.
possible.
I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
That is close enough, man. I'll take that. I'll take that as a dub for sure. Call it a moral victory if you want to, but nah, that
Hmm.
was good with me.
What
That was
what
real
was
good.
that job that you picked up after?
I ended up actually, I mean, in DC, everything pretty much works for the government. So I was a
Hmm.
contractor at the time doing I became a project manager
Hmm.
and got out of it and just used my abilities to, think on my feet and try to smooth talk people that are upset about stakes and turn that into, turn that into some project management skills.
I
It's
mean,
funny, like the restaurant
that's
industry
wild.
teaches you a lot.
Yeah.
Like you learn a lot about numbers, about hospitality for sure, how
Mhm.
to talk to people, how to defuse situations. It really, really is an industry that can put out some really well-rounded people.
Yeah, I mean, I never worked in the hospitality industry, but I did work
Okay.
at a candy store, and that's the
Okay.
closest I could get. We
It's
dealt.
kind of the same thing, man. Yeah. Yeah.
I dealt food, and it's funny because like when I was younger, and I mean,
I dealt food.
um, when I was younger, I was always saying like I would never work in a restaurant. I would never work in a restaurant, right? But like once you get the opportunity to be like, yo, you can make more money if you do something else, and then they hit you up with this, like, yo, I got this opportunity for you. You're quick to jump on it, especially because I was heavy into I was working at GameStop at the time, and
Okay.
my whole check would be one sneaker basically. Like one I would do you get paid two checks every month. So one check was a sneaker and the other check was my phone bill. And I would just keep
Yeah.
alternating. And then I would try to sell sneakers and it massed into this crazy collection. But the
During that time, I was hardcore for the right shoes to work in, man, because that was
Mhm.
brutal. And it was right around the time when like those Lunar Lawn like dress shoes were coming
Oh
out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There was a Nike Cole Haan
Yeah,
that
I
came
have a
out.
pair.
It wasn't the one that had like the Lunar Line. It like actually looked like a legit dress shoe, but
Oh,
it had
okay.
swoosh and like the Cole Haan logo on the bottom.
Hmm.
And it was by far the most comfortable thing to
Oh
actually
yeah.
work in. Once I finally wore the pair out in like 6 months, I mean I hunted all over for another pair. Like I was on eBay looking for it. I went to outlets. I was everywhere looking for it. Like I could never find anything but that one. But it was yeah, it was similar. Like the same tricks that you use to try to buy sneakers. Here I am trying to find dress shoes.
Yeah. So then, like, project management. How did you end up at Soul? What is it again? Site Direct. Sorry, my bad. I forgot the name of it. Soul
What site supply?
Lighting Site Supply. There we go. My bad.
Yeah, so I think I joined a cook group. At the time, my wife and I were planning to get married, so I was trying to make some money
Hmm.
to try to help us pay for the wedding. Like, what do I know how to do outside of work? I'm like, well, I know sneakers pretty well. So I had actually joined a couple of different cook groups at the time, and Site Supply was one that I had been with for a couple of years. I've since stopped reselling, just because it's just,
It's a
I'm
pain
just
in
gonna
the
be like,
ass.
it's a headache. Like, it
I
really
don't.
is. Like,
I
it's
don't like
stressful.
reselling. Yeah.
It's no joke. Like you got to be on it every minute, and nowadays, like you got to be tied to your phone every minute of every
Hmm.
day. Saturday mornings going out to make pickups and stuff. But it can be good money. It is like it helped me pay for our wedding, buy my wife a wedding dress, which I'm internally grateful for. And Site Supply put up a post that they were looking for somebody on their website team to write some blogs, and that it was something I kind of had the itch to get into a little bit.
Hmm.
And so I hit them up, and Mark and Swift were kind enough to give me the opportunity, and I've been working with them for probably about 6 months now, and it's awesome. Like they're great people to work for. Like I love the opportunity, and they kind of give me fair reign to like, hey, sneakers. We trust you're gonna find us good stories. Have at it. Just tell
Yeah.
us what it is going to be at the end of the day. We know you write well, so I got myself the Grammarly Premium subscription, and yeah. So it just kind of evolved from reselling to pay for my wedding to now growing what I hopefully is a flourishing blog.
No, yeah. I mean, I got to read some of it, but like, what was some of your favorite, or what are your go to? If somebody was
Yes.
just like, oh, I want to read some of your pieces, but like, what are your go tos?
Yeah, there's one. I mean, obviously, there's the one that pays the bills for the website, which is, the Nike Vomero is coming out in blue and black, and now the
Right.
Vomero 5 is coming out in yellow, and it's coming out in blue. And like, I told those guys, like, I'm not writing another piece about Bad Bunny. Like, I'm sorry, I can't write about another color of the Bad Bunny campus. I can't do it. So I really do enjoy writing the longer feature pieces.
Hmm.
There's definitely a couple that stick out in my mind. They asked me to write a piece that was like kind of a two-part one, a longer feature about the history of Kith and
Hmm.
what they've grown into, and really reaching into the backstory of Ronnie Feig and how he's grown that into a worldwide empire. Like it really, really resonated with me a lot. Like
Hmm.
hearing the way that he came up, and it was a cool story because he was the same kind of like me. Like he wanted all the Jordans and all that stuff. And at the time, he said his mother couldn't get those things for him,
Hmm.
and she got him the Asics Gel Light 3. And he's like, "Here, these look cool." And instead of sulking and being down about it, like he decided just to rock it and like be about it. And
Hmm.
next thing you know, he's like meeting reps from ASIC and making his own collabs off that Gel Light 3. And now he's launched an entire global empire
Yeah.
into that Gel Light 3. So I really, really enjoyed digging down into that story and finding out the details of it, and really watching the story of how Kith has kind of grown into this worldwide conglomerate.
Hmm.
Another one was a Supreme piece about how
Hmm.
Nike and Supreme kind of came together and kind of blew up the sneaker scene. I've always kind of liked Supreme, always been into SBs and learning about the different things that they've done with Nike and how there was some friction in that relationship for sure.
Hmm.
Like when the Dunks first came out, when they had the gold stars on them, Supreme originally wanted those to be swooshes,
Yeah.
and Nike was like, "Nah, man, we're not down with that. We don't want a part of it." And so Supreme pretty much backed off the collaborations for like 3 years. Like, okay, fine, we don't want to do it. And then when they did the Jewel swoosh and the second release of the Dunks, everybody's like, "What are you doing? These are stupid." And then to find out that that was basically their middle finger to everybody, like, yeah, this is what we do. You don't like them? Yeah, here it is. Come get it. And like, I respect that. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah.
respect it. You're gonna stay true to who you are. But yeah, those are cool. And I've actually enjoyed. They let me write guides on how to have some success on the sneakers app, how to have some
Hmm.
success on the confirmed app, because I really do pride myself on my ability to get sneakers manually. We've now moved on to doing the Twitter spaces to try to help people live in real time, where I teach them
Hmm.
some tricks of the trade. And the first thing, like, there, there's no cheat code. Like, there's no cheat code for the sneakers app. We've all seen the force close your app 3 times, click here, swipe down, swipe left. Like, no, no, none of it works. But there's things you can do. There are things
Right.
you can do to improve your odds. There's different things that you can do to troubleshoot, like when the app craps out, like it does seemingly for every major drop. There's different
Hmm.
things you can do. So I really enjoyed trying to teach people some of those ways. Trying to I learned the hard way so that they don't have to, kind of thing. So that's been really, really, really good for me to be able to kind of share that with some people for sure.
No, yeah, I mean, I heard it was like you talked. I forgot what release it was, but you were putting up a space together. I didn't join, but like but it made me like come up with like why. I guess why help everybody when you're trying to get the shoe yourself? It's why.
Honestly, like, people have helped me along the way.
Hmm.
People have helped me along the way. So I figured the least I can do is try to pass on some of the knowledge that I've gained. And, somewhere along the line, people were kind enough to tell me, like, hey, try this, try that. I enjoy trying to talk to people. Like, I enjoy being in front of a crowd. I don't mind. I'm not one of the people that gets bashful about public speaking. The restaurant industry will teach that to you as well.
Oh
Like,
yeah, for sure.
you're gonna learn how to put on a story real quick. But I just enjoy it. Like, Yuming and I talked about that. Yuming, the founder of Sneaker News,
Hmm.
he and I talked about that. Like, how can we actually try to help people? Because we kind of harken back to the old Nike Talk days, where
Hmm.
somebody would say like, "Yo, Supreme just restocked Dunks down on 15th Street, and this store just did that. This store just did that." Like, how can we do that in a world that's all about bots in the
Right.
sneaker world nowadays? Like, how can we actually help people do that? So I've just tried to help some people along. I actually spent the last day and a half trying to make a little video of how to get through undefeated.
Hmm.
Manually, if you have Apple Pay, undefeated is they do a good job. They do a really
Yeah.
good job combating bots, and it can work for you, but it can be a process, man, for sure. But and then just trying to tell people, like I think a lot of people underestimate how much effort they really put in.
Hmm.
When I tell people, like I'd show people like what I do, I'm like, yep, I got 5 sneakers accounts, I got 4 JD accounts, I got 4 phones, 2 iPads, and my desktop going right now. And they're like, that'll drive you nuts. Like that'll give you a headache. And people are like,
You're looking like that guy with the all the phones on the bike.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But doing that, yeah, it's a lot, and my wife wants to kill me half the time.
Hmm.
But like, I got pretty good success. I've learned my way to kind of get pretty much any sneaker that I want for retail.
I mean, it's tough. I'm also just I'm retail gang. I don't pay resale. I just don't.
Uh,
I mean,
Not
I
at
don't.
all.
I if I can. It's more of like if I really want the shoe and I struck out, like it's mostly just SBs that I would do that for, or
Sure.
like yeah, I think it's mostly just SBs, maybe like old Kiss stuff, but like I don't count old sneakers as like paying resale. It's like if because like I'll find a shoe from 2008 and I would
Yeah.
pay under retail for it, so I don't consider it the same. Um, but it's like I'm strictly like any new release, I'm only paying retail. Like
Yeah, for the most part.
I
Yeah.
don't I don't I don't think there's a shoe because the way sneakers are released now, it makes me not want to but like spend the extra money to pay somebody else's bills because
What do you mean the way they're released now?
like they're so often that I can
Oh
just wait
yeah.
for the next one. Like that
Yeah, sure.
money that's going to this shoe is it's gonna get spent. It's just got not gonna get spent now. It's gonna get spent later when another shoe
Exactly.
that I want comes out. So
Yep. There'll probably be
the
something very similar coming down the line.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, the last thing I bought were the Faust SBs on eBay, and I did pay resale, but I had a gift card
Okay.
from eBay, so I had
Well, that'll
like
count then. Yeah.
yeah, I paid like I paid retail basically for it. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, I just I can't see myself spending $400 $500 for a
Uh,
pair of shoes, especially because I do wear my shoes. Like I preach wear your kicks to
Absolutely.
everybody. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I usually don't either. Like sometimes I'll, get on eBay and, you miss a release and you can get it when that post drop dip comes in and you
Hmm.
can get it for 20 to 30 bucks above retail. I don't sweat that. I think I've only paid like 4 or 500 once. But yeah, for the most part, I just do. Yeah, if I can get it a couple bucks over retail, I'll do that. But not much else for the most part.
I'm very curious about how did you end up with like becoming the community manager? Like, what was it? Just like they hit you up? What did you do? What was so special about you that they they hit you up about it?
I think I always like being part of something from the beginning. And
Yeah.
I think I was probably like one of the first 100 people in that Discord. So I always kind of felt a sense of pride to it. And it
Hmm.
was kind of like, I'd always just try to help people cop manually. Like I'd be dropping my tips in there, do this, go to this site, don't waste your time on that site. And I think from there, they asked me to be a mod.
Hmm.
And that went on for a little bit. And they had a community manager position come available, and it got filled. I had actually called Yuming about it, and because I was interested in it,
Hmm.
and I didn't know that it got filled. He's like, "Hey, we're literally about to announce somebody tomorrow," and that kid bounced after like a week. So the
He
next
couldn't
day he
handle it. He couldn't handle it.
I mean, I think he just had a lot going on, underestimated or overestimated the kind of time he had available.
Yeah.
And he hit me up and was like, "Hey, I'd like you to do it." At the time, he was actually working with Stadium Goods as
Hmm.
well, and he had a position available where he was trying to source a community manager for Stadium Goods at the
Hmm.
same time, and he was like, "I'd like you to do one of these positions. Like, which one would you rather do?" And Stadium Goods is a big name, but being in sneaker news since day one, since Jump Street, I was like, yeah, man, I want to be in there. Like, I've seen this thing since day one. Like, I want to help it grow, and it's been really really cool to see what we've been able to evolve into.
No, yeah. I mean, I gotta jump back in there more. But
Yeah.
I mean I was there early as well. But I'm just terrible at Discord. Like in terms of just like I have my own,
Uh,
but it's like when it comes to anybody like others that I join, I'm like I'll just have it on the side and I don't like I won't go back until somebody pay. Like I get like a everyone
Yeah.
ping.
There's a lot. And that, I mean, the one thing that's cool about the sneaker news group is that it
Mhm,
is just a community. It's just a bunch of sneakerheads. It's not where everybody's talking about resell this and resell
mhm,
that. It's, a lot of people just showing off their kicks, talking about sneakers, talking about what's coming up, what they like. Hey, I dropped this on my shoe. How do I clean it?
mhm.
Anybody do custom work? It's just cool to see that kind of community that we've been able to build there, where it's really not about resale at all. It's
No,
interesting.
yeah. That I mean that's dope. Yes, I will move it up in the stacks of discords I'm in.
Well, shoot me your if you got an NFT wallet, man. Shoot me your address. I'll slide you over one of our NFTs so you get the
Oh, that's
full
sick.
community. Yeah,
That'll
yeah.
be
Shoot it
dope.
over to me.
Uh my bad. The I shoot, I had a question and I freaking lost it. But
It's all good.
um this is what it was. What made you want to be super active on Twitter? Because I feel like that's like the spot for you. Like you're literally tweeting. You tweet. I've seen you tweet every day consecutively, and I was like, damn. But like, because like I'll jump on and I'll do my little ramblings and then I'll hop
Yeah.
off because I guess I'm social media inept. I want to say because because I'll be like really into it for like an hour and then I'll be like, man, I don't want to do this anymore, and then that's it. Like I don't
Yeah,
come back
yeah.
to it for like 5 days. But yeah, what is it? What is it about Twitter for you?
I don't know. Honestly, like I just enjoy talking about sneakers. Like I really
Hmm.
do. Like I don't know what it is. Like I've always tried to, pride myself on staying modern, with the new technology, whether it be social media or with NFTs. Like I always try to maintain a working knowledge of what, the generation that's younger than me is into, so I can try to, be cool, try to be into it. I'm gonna have kids. I
Hmm.
want to know what's going on in the world and figuring out where the world is going to so I can not get left behind. Like I don't want to
Hmm.
be my father trying to figure out how to do a voicemail on his phone. You know what I mean? But I don't know. I really don't know how it is I got into what really made me push towards Twitter as over to Instagram. But I think Twitter just feels like a little bit more of a community to
Hmm.
me. I think that's probably it. You have one-on-one interactions with people. With with Instagram, I think it's all just based around the picture, and everybody's just talking about one picture. Whereas on Twitter, you can actually have a conversation about
Hmm.
something with people. And I don't know, I may be way off about that, but that's just it. Kind of feels like that way to me. So, um, yeah, so that's why I kind of chose to focus on that.
No, yeah. Is your Steve community more online, or do you get to get a little bit of taste out of the DC area? Wait, you're
I
DC,
mean,
right?
honestly, like I live a little bit in the cut, man. I do, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit of a little bit of a drive for me to get into DC.
Hmm.
And like, man, DC is savage with sneakers, man. Like, there's
Hmm.
resellers everywhere you turn into. But like, I always go to SneakerCon every year. I got a
Hmm.
couple shops that I frequent locally where I know some people around town. But yeah, like I said, I kind of live in the sticks, so I don't even try to go for in-store raffles anymore. Like the closest sneaker store to me is like a solid 45 minutes. So it's got to be something tight for me to want to go for a raffle.
Yeah,
You know
for
what I
real.
mean? Like
But you
I
mentioned
ain't entering no
SneakerCon though.
in-store raffles. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What's your experience with SneakerCon?
SneakerCon's cool. That's another thing that Sneaker News started, was a co-founder of it. Yuming was a co-founder of that, and I think I went last year for the first time, and
Hmm.
it's cool. Honestly, like I go back and forth on it. Like I like it. I like the aspect of it, just being able to get out and mingle with some like-minded people, see some really really cool stuff. See some stuff that you might not have the chance to see in hand.
Hmm.
Um, but also like at the same time, it like once you're halfway through the room, it can get a little repetitive. I
Hmm.
feel, but there's always like one thing that you walk away from, like, damn, I got to see that in hand. That was crazy. Like last year, I got to see it was a Freddy Krueger dunk that
Hmm.
somebody had in hand, and this year it was remember the movie White Man Can't Jump?
Of course, yeah.
Dude had the Billy Hole, like the Air
Oh,
Force, the force pump that was like 3 feet tall.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty
Those
cool.
dropped 2016, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah, that was
it was
really
like
cool.
$300 for them, I think, and
Man,
I
that
was
thing was
like,
like up to my forearm. I'm
yeah,
like,
yo. I
what
mean, but
is this thing?
imagine having those and be like, you know what, I'm gonna pull those out now, and like
Yeah.
well, for me, it'd be like I'll be on the train and I have the pump with me. I'll be like, yeah, that's right, just pump it up in the back.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think one dude had like it was probably like a 9'10", size 13.
Hmm.
And I was like, man, if that was even close to my size, like I'd think about it. But yeah, I can't. I gotta have to wear a lot of socks to fit a 13.
I mean, I'm a 13. You could have got them from me.
Yeah, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I
I'm pretty
wish I
sure it's
knew.
probably charging like $1,000 for them or something. Something
Not
crazy.
even. I think they had him at like, I think it was under 400. I think it was
Still
like
too much for me.
350, 380, something like that. But it was cool. Like I never, I hadn't seen that shoe in so long.
Oh yeah.
It's like Billy Ho! Like as soon as I saw it, it was cool. I was like seeing the trading pit too. Like, I like to see the people that kind of, didn't want to opt for the table, but
Hmm.
still want to try to move some pairs. So that's cool to see. And like, you see the backdoor pairs going on the outskirts of
Hmm.
the arena is pretty cool to see. Seeing all of the early pairs. Somebody had a pair of April SBs, the new ones.
Hmm.
And I grabbed them. I was checking them out. I turned them around. I was like, bro, there's a stain on there. He's like, yo, the dude who works here grabbed him after eating Doritos. I'm about to kill him.
Oh my god.
I was like, and you
I'd be
still want to hit
so
on
upset.
ours? Like, there's
Yeah,
Doritos
for
on these, bro.
real.
Get out of here.
It's like, no, it'll wipe off. It'll wipe off.
Yeah, okay. But
Oh
it's just cool to
man.
be around like-minded people. I always like seeing the eBay people. Like I wanted to, see if I could get like a little stage with the eBay folks to kind of,
Hmm.
learn how to legit check a little bit better.
Yeah. I mean, legit checking back in the day was definitely an art form, and now it's
Yeah,
like insanely hard. But
the
the
reps have gotten so good
yeah,
nowadays, man. It's crazy.
I mean, I can't even like me going. I would because like I what I do with me with reps is, I I'm like super lurker in like all like the I'm in rep Reddit, I'm in like
Okay,
discords, right? And then you also have your rep TikToks, but I don't really mess with that. But I
sure.
will I will I will look and make sure that like, oh, what shoes are being repped, and
Yeah.
then but for me it's like but that's only for like if I'm really considering to buy a shoe on eBay, right? And then yeah, so mostly I spend a lot of time just like lurking on rep stuff because when
That's smart.
because because
Yeah.
I just like to know when, if, or just what shoes are being replicated,
Yeah.
like, or whatever they're calling it. But if I think that like I do it mostly just to be evading sneakers on like eBay and just trying not to get caught, because like I mean back in the day, like when you saw a fake, it was like you can tell it
Oh
was
yeah.
fake,
Yeah.
and then now people are just like, I think people are just hyping up the idea of just being able to get a pair of sneakers that you really sought after because of the hype, or mostly definitely because of the hype. And they're trying to justify that it's okay to wear these. But then
Mm.
when we're like, but did you want the shoe, or just did you want the
Did you want the
notoriety?
hype?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the notoriety with the shoe. And it's just especially when you have like brands like Ama Manir who put like a ton into their story, and then you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get the repped version of the Ama
Yeah.
Manir threes. Like
It's just
what?
so disrespectful to the artist. Hey, it's funny. Like when I was at SneakerCon, like I'm
Hmm.
by far a novice at spotting reps, and like
Hmm.
there was a bunch of stuff where I was like, yeah, nope, we're moving right on past this table. One thing I noticed was the year of the rabbit Jordan Lowe's.
Hmm.
I saw a few of those. I'm like, yeah, nah, this ain't even the same font on the back here. Like, y'all spacing is way too perfect to be real. Like, yeah, it's sad. Like, it ain't for me. Like, if anybody else wants to do it, there's plenty of places out there for you. But
Hmm.
I'll tell you what, the Sneaker News Collector Club is not the place for you.
I just think that I mean, because I treat it. I mean, there's people who say that sneaker culture doesn't exist. There's people who say sneaker culture is pivotal. And for me, it's like I grew up in the culture of sneakers and
Hmm.
learning about like it's not, it's more than just having the shoes. It's
Yeah.
for me it's like, and it's with anything, like even with hip hop, like it's like if you have an appreciation for the art form, you don't want to be like, what, Millie Vanilli it and be like, like you don't want to be lip syncing and pretending that you down with it when you're not, like like that's how I treat sneakers and sneaker
Yeah, I get
culture.
it. Like, I understand the mentality of like, hey, I can't pay $1,700 for the Travis Scotts. I'm just gonna get them from overseas for a
Hmm.
couple $100. I'm like, I understand the mentality, like I do, but it's like, man, you're literally, it's so disrespectful to what's being done, like to the artists, the people that put their hard work into it. It's just, it's tough for me to justify. Like, and it'll never be for me. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. It ain't for me,
No,
not
yeah.
at
I
all.
mean, hopefully, I mean, I do want to go to a sneaker con. I do want to see because like I went to one when when it was first started, right? And it was cool. Like, and I talked about this the last episode. Like, I really enjoyed like when a convention or because I go to Complex Con every year.
Okay.
But it's like you get activations. Like I don't want it to just be like, oh, I'm just there to look at tables and see it. Like for me, it's supposed to be like an experience of like this is the culture come to life. Like I like
Yeah.
and I think, and not to be like super hypercritical of it, but then you have these people that are doing mystery boxes just to make money and come up back,
Yeah.
like and then you also have people just they brought the sneakers and they're just like, all right, let me just try to get as much as I can for the shoe, like it's
Yeah.
just it's a bunch of preying on people with people that really want preying on people that really want something really bad,
I,
and it's not conducive to creating a community. Because if say if I sold you a sneaker for the high, do you think when you go back home, right, and you go, let me look up how much this really costs, like, or whatever, this guy really said, blah blah blah, and he put like an extra $50 on top, and then you go back and you're like, man, I could have gotten this for $100 under retail. How does that
yeah.
look for somebody who is like brand new into this, or even starting out, who just could have bought two pairs of sneakers, but you took the other pair away from them because you wanted more money for yourself?
I feel
Like,
bad for the moms and dads, like the mom and
yeah.
the mom that's following around her kid who's 13, 14 year old and
Hmm.
wants a pair of foam runners and somebody's charging them $400 for it. And like I had that same experience. I was at Flight Club. Like I went to Flight Club in New York for the first
Hmm.
time a couple of years ago, and it's like I'm looking at the shoe and it's 450. I go on their website, it's 330. I'm like,
Hmm.
you got 2 day shipping, bro. Like, why wouldn't I just save myself $110 just to have this a day earlier and walk out the store with it? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't, even when I was reselling, like I would never try to beat people over the head too hard with it. You
Hmm.
know, it's just not, it's not like that for me, you know?
Yeah. But, as we're dwindling down to the end of the podcast, I do ask another question. And that question deals with you having to just put yourself in the position. All right. So
Okay.
I want you to think about, the moment where you're about to open up the box for let's go with the first Bo Jacksons, right? And now you're you from this age right now. You go back in time, you're standing behind yourself, your younger self, as they're about to open that box. What would you tell them?
First of all, that Bo Jackson never even made it to the box because I kept it on the second I tried it on, wore it out the store.
uh,
But I try to tell myself to enjoy it a little bit, because at then, you're young, you just want to walk around, run around town. Near that age, you probably, at least me, like we got one pair of shoes for the school year, and that was about it. If we're lucky, maybe
mhm,
halfway through the school year, you beat it up, you get to wear another one. But like, just appreciate what you have, appreciate that your parents put the work in, to get you in that position where you could actually open it,
mhm,
and really, really treat it like an experience. Like somebody put a lot of work into that shoe. Somebody sat behind a table and sketched it out. Somebody designed it. Somebody put a lot of effort into a factory to make that shoe for you. And one thing that just happened recently that kind of really, really taught me that lesson was that Kith mystery box, man, the X-Men
mhm,
pack. I have never had so much fun as a sneakerhead in my life. Like that was so awesome the way they rolled that out. Like they really, really pinged at our nostalgia, and it really showed me like, man, this is what sneakers supposed to be about. You know what I mean?
mhm,
It's not about like copping every pair or talking trash to somebody because they don't have this pair or you got this
mhm.
colorway or that collab or whatever. It was like the thrill of it was back again. Like for a while, for the past year, I was getting a little, I wouldn't say downtrodden, but like I didn't really get much. Like there wasn't much that was really piquing my interest over the
Yeah.
course of the past year. But like that one really, really got me back to like, all right, this is what it's about. Enjoy it.
Mhm.
It's fun. It's not just a sneaker. It's supposed to be like this. This is how it's supposed to be. And props to Kid for putting that together. And reignite that fire in me.
Yeah, and props to Kith for breaking my heart because I struck out on
Oh
it twice. So,
no,
so way to
really?
rub it in at the
Oh,
last
dude, I'm
last part of
sorry.
the episode.
I'm sorry, man.
Man, I really wanted a pair of ghosts. I'm a longtime Kith wearer.
Uh,
I used to go to Atrium and just hang out in the back. Like
really?
I used to be in. I was cool with everybody at the store before they moved. I'm a big like Ronnie and Kith fan. I love the history behind it. Love what it represents, and I love that it created this new way of just like fashion accepting streetwear as
Yeah.
part of it. And I
You know, a
mean
lot of
Virgil expanded
you
on it.
really can credit Ronnie with the
Yeah,
birth of streetwear. Like you really
yeah,
can. It's an
yeah.
argument for sure, but yeah, it's really cool. Their history. I heard that they're actually reopening the Atrium store. They're actually rebuilding it and putting something else in there. Is that true?
I mean, yeah, because it's been closed. I was gonna say reopen it. I was like, no, it's definitely closed. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
But I heard
yeah.
that Ronnie has only been building the entire time, and they're
I
actually
didn't know that. I didn't
yeah.
know that. I mean,
I
maybe he bought it after he bought the building that they opened the new Kith in it. So maybe they're doing something else. But I haven't heard anything. Like I haven't been down there in a while.
okay.
So yeah, once they built the bigger building, everybody that I knew that worked at Kith did not work at Kith anymore. So I was just there like, all right, whatever. Like I won one raffle on my birthday like 5 years ago, and like I was just
What'd
like,
you
all
hit?
right, uh the Levi fours, the white pair.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very
So
nice.
but yeah, man, thank you so much for jumping on, Uncle Chrissy.
Hey, man,
Uh
thank you for having me, man. I really
yeah, of
appreciate it.
course. You didn't plug anything, so plug all your stuff right here. I'll plug it in the intro as well.
If you want to, drop me a follow on Twitter, at Uncle underscore Chrissy. Drop me up on YouTube at Uncle dot Chrissy.
Hmm.
And that's pretty much it. Like you said, social media can be a grind, and I do spend a lot of my time on Twitter. So I want to try to grow the community on there as much as I can. Eventually, I want to try to build up the YouTube. So drop me a sub on there. And again, if you want to jump in the Sneaker News Collector Club, it's a really cool community. Grab me on Twitter, shoot me a DM. I'll be glad to shoot everybody an invite. We do Twitter Spaces. We're about to start a new Meet the Collector series where it'll
Hmm.
be, kind of like a mock podcast doing the Twitter VC where we, pick one of our collectors every month, bring them on, talk about some pairs that they have in the closet. So, yeah, man, I want to see you in there real soon, bro.
I'll be in there. Yeah. Everybody jump in. Tell them that I sent you this episode. You found your way here because of this
Definitely.
episode. And for everybody out there, what we say every week: wear your kicks.
Wear them,
Peace.
man. Wear them. Peace.